Hi, welcome to the Lighthouse of Awesome. I am Michael. Today I'm talking about the 11th book of the Confessions by Augustine, and this book is about time. Time is a very interesting thing. We don't fully understand it now, and Augustine did not fully understand it then. He starts the book as talking about basically the creation, Genesis. What is time before time? Or he says he's asked that question a number of times. And what he comes to say is that time before time, the question itself doesn't exist because God is creation. Yes, his will is eternal, but as everything comes into being, for God to act, any action creates. He talks about in the beginning, God made heaven and earth from the Word, the Son, the power, the wisdom, the truth. And he seems to combine all these things together. Information, wisdom, knowledge, all these things that we convey to other people or are conveyed from God to us are what constitute creation. That we speak and we create. Another way of saying this is that thoughts become things. So we have a thought, we verbalize the thought, we work on the thought, we create the thought, and the thought exists. So creation was the act of self-creation. And he talks about the relativity of time, which is pretty advanced for when he was writing. He talks about the motions of the planets and how he talked to a learned man that said this was time. But he spoke of if the planets were to stop, we would still be able to speak, and we would have short words and long words, and we wouldn't be able to have that without time. So that time is not necessarily a result of the astronomical rotation. Now we now know that if the bodies of the heavens stopped, we would go 800 miles an hour into the wall and everything would be effectively flattened. But we can still imagine a place where time is not dependent on what the bodies of the universe are doing. And today we even do that. Our atomic clocks use cesium-133, and we have leap seconds and leap days and all sorts of things to keep our time matched up to the heavens. Because we can tell time better than what those bodies of the universe can, which is really fascinating. So what Augustine had to tell time in his day was probably like an hourglass, sundial, maybe calendar, astrology, and basically a sense of something is longer than something else. So something takes twice as long, half as long, something like that. And but they were so accurate with time that they could predict solar eclipses, which is pretty an intense use of time and knowing when things were going to happen, especially where a solar eclipse is going to happen on the Earth. Because to predict an eclipse, you just have to know where the nodes of the moon are. So basically where the moon crosses the plane of the Earth. And so whenever the sun and the moon end up at the nodes at the same time, whether it's on the same side, which is a solar eclipse, or opposite sides, which is a lunar eclipse, you get that sense of you can predict when it's going to happen. And with a lunar eclipse, you can always you know what side of the Earth you're on, so whether you're going to see it or not. But with a solar eclipse, it's only like a real narrow band that moves up through the Earth that actually gets the total solar eclipse. So it's interesting that they were able to predict that at the time. This book was a little more digestible than the last book, and I'll talk about book 12 tomorrow.